Hey guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. So, I kind of thought of this video topic because I just kind of finished watching RGT85's video on the possibility of another video game crash, which, he kind of referenced my video, the one I did prior about that, and he kind of talked more about the modern side, the modern industry. My original video was talking about all the retro stuff that's coming out, and it's just overwhelming and going crazy. And he took it to the other level of the modern games. And he talked about the length of playing a video game today, a lot of new video games, and how long it takes to play these games. And, immediately I start to think of the only games that are really modern that I might play today would be like this, like the Zelda game for the Switch. And that's about as modern gaming as I go. And I wasn't too great on this game. I didn't get very far. But the topic that kind of came to mind, and, something that I've talked about, I think it was like 4 months ago I did a video on this, was video game backlog. And when I talked about video game backlog, I was talking about my own personal experiences. I was talking mostly in the retro world. But then I started to think, from some of the things that he mentioned, I think that there's also a problem with backlog in both spectrums in the modern world as well. And then I thought, well, is it worse? Is the backlog worse in modern gaming than it is with the retro gaming? Now, obviously, it could be the same. There's no doubt that either could be either or. But I just thought it would be interesting to kind of, do a discussion piece and see what you guys have to think. Because, I think about the modern games, specifically like this one. I picked it up and I bought my Switch and I bought this with it. This game was the one I wanted to try. And I got into it and I started getting into it and I started feeling like I was playing it and playing it and playing it. And I was getting all over the place and I got all these items and I started feeling overwhelmed. The world map was just too big for me. I didn't know where I was going anymore. I was on like all these side quests. And I thought to myself, this is going to take forever. I don't even know where I'm going. And I don't know what happened. I just started to lose interest. And we have this one now, the Tears of the Kingdom, which is the sequel or the next one in line. I didn't really care to get this one. It was my daughter that wanted it because she got further than I did in the first one. And, I'm thinking, heck, I don't even know if I even want to try and get to this one. The fact that I got so far behind in the first one, this one kind of frightens me, being a retro gamer or a person who's used to playing shorter games. I mean, back in my day, the idea of a long game was something like Dragon Warrior, or even something like Castlevania 3, where it does take some man-hours to get in there and complete these games. Or, if I think about earlier retro gaming, I want to go back to like Atari and Odyssey, where you just pop in a game, you play for about 5-10 minutes, and then you're done. It's over. And if I think about the backlog from a lot of these older games, like the Nintendo NES era and before, a lot of them I can get around to playing them pretty fast. I could put a lot of these games in, and I can start playing them. Especially if we're talking about things like Atari. Most of the games for Atari, you're going to put in and you're going to play for about 5 to 10 minutes. Not if you're one of those people going for scores, mind you. If you want to get the highest score and, you go for those high score challenges and stuff like that, obviously you're going to be there for hours. I'm talking about, I can bang through probably about 20 Atari games in one sitting if I really want to. I could pull out Pitfall, put it in there and play. Nintendo, sort of the same idea. I could put in Super Mario Brothers, complete it, pull it out, put in Tetris, play Tetris for a while, move to Dr. Mario. That you can kind of move around from game to game because the games are simple. A lot of them are, no, I'm not going to say single screen. Some of the Atari titles are single screen. But, there's a limit to how much the game plays. And you get enough of a taste of the game that you're like, okay, I'm done. I'm going to put that one down, and I'm going to pick up another one. And you can kind of bang through these games pretty fast. But you can't really do that with these games. I mean, if you become really, really good at it, like I've seen a few videos they're like, I guess, completion videos where people are like, I complete this Switch game, and it's like a 3-hour, 4-hour long video. Obviously, the person figured everything out, and then they go back and then they record themselves playing it from front to back. The other thing is too, and I think RGT85 talked about this, was, you know, there's modern games don't seem to go anywhere. Maybe it wasn't him that talked about it. Maybe it was somebody in the comments section. But the fact that a lot of these games are not designed to really end. They're designed to continue on. You're paying money or whatever. You have a subscription to it, or you got to keep paying more money to the company that owns the game, or that manufactured the game, to keep the quest going. And so you never really finish these games. And that could be just the type of game they are. Maybe they're not designed to have an ending. So essentially, you're never going to finish that game. But then the other thing is the ease of the digital world, which is another topic I talked about, the digital subscription and all that, and how easy it is now to just download all these games with the intent of, I'm going to play these games. And if they do take as long as something like this, or they never end, exactly at what point do you decide, hey, I'm going to put this game down and I'm going to start on another one that also requires many, 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 many hours to play it, understand it, and complete it, if possible, can be completed. And there's, like, you know, for myself, I look at my modern games. Like, I don't have a lot. I admit that. I'm not a modern gamer. I do have the Nintendo Switch, and, you know, a lot of the stuff I do play on it. I was actually talking about this earlier. One of my videos was I downloaded Dragon Quest, which is essentially this game, Dragon Warrior, on the NES. But it's, you know, a little bit different. The experience and all that, and the money and the cost, and the, you know, it's a little bit of a different game, but the actual gameplay of the game and how to complete it, it's all the same. So I kind of knew how to play the game. There wasn't much learning for me. It was literally just new graphics. But a lot of the games I have on the Switch are kind of those retro-inspired, older-style games. And so I tend to just play those, and that's it. But even in my own collection, like I look at, in my previous video when I talked about Backlog, I did pull out some games that I did not play or haven't played much of, and I really hope to play. And then there's more games that have come in since then. Like, for instance, this one here, this is Missile Domination. It's a homebrew that was sent to me from Intellivision Revolution. It's essentially Missile Command. You know, it's a game that I've talked about. I'm not the biggest fan of Missile Command, but it is still an interesting game. And this is the Intellivision version of it. And I have this in package, and I have yet to pull this out and put it in my Intellivision and give it a shot. Try and make a video on it or anything. Because I do have a lot of other games that I could potentially step up and play those games. So even though these games can be played much faster, and, you know, I can pop them in and play them, I can do a video on them if I want, there's still a tremendous backlog with the retro games that probably is you know, it's a little bit different for me because I don't really play the modern games too much. I mean, like some of the newer Super Mario Brothers games, I have the, I think it's Super Mario Wii 2. I got that on the Switch. I did play a little bit of it, and I got to a point where it was getting really hard for me to play. You know, it was just so much going on. The kind of, the mechanics in the game were just a little bit over my head. I'm more of that, you know, Super Mario Brothers 3 guy. You know, that's about as far in the Super Mario chain that I like to go. Like, even with Super Mario World, I never really completed that game. I got halfway through it, I think, and I get lost. So, you know, some of these games that I try and play, it just gets to a frustration level where I'm just like, I don't know. So I'm not too quick to want to start downloading any of these new Super Mario Brothers games. Super Mario Wonder, I haven't even looked into that one. I've seen pictures of it, I've seen people talking about it, but I've never actually looked at what the game does. And I'm not sure if I'm going to want to, because I look at this and going, when the heck am I ever going to have time to get around to understanding that game, playing it, getting anywhere with it? So why buy it? Why download it when I don't know if I'll ever play it? But I wonder if a lot of modern gamers are in that same scenario where they've downloaded all these games or even just bought them in discount prices. Because he did talk about that in the video about the Crash idea, is that a lot of people do wait for the games to come down in price, and then you just stock up on all these games. And then you end up with all these games in your collection, and then you have to ask yourself, what do I do with them? Do I play them? Do I just get rid of them? Do I sell them off? What do I do? And so it's really an interesting question as to who or what, what genre is going to be more backlog than the other. If it's even a question, I mean, it could be the same. I mean, you think about how many retro games you can own, there's tons. We can go all the way back to the beginning of video games and say that I haven't played a ton of them. I haven't played anything on the Atari Jaguar. I haven't played anything on the Dreamcast. I haven't played anything on the GameCube. So there is a heck of a lot. Anyways, yeah, that's what I thought of. I just thought to throw that out there to you. Get the comments down below. Tell me what you think. Is modern gaming or retro gaming going to create more backlog? Let me know in the comments. Hope you subscribe. We'll talk to you later.